Today's DIY painting kit is July 4th themed, so we are going to paint a star. In this kit, you'll receive a star, the yardstake, 2 screws, 3 brushes, and a red, blue, and white paint. You'll also receive a stencil of little stars that you can put on the big star, plus a name that you want to put on the star. So first we are going to start by painting our star, and I am going to paint my background white. So I'm going to move these out of the way. And if you have any popsicle sticks at home, when you get the paint, I would just go ahead and give it a little stir. And this paint is outdoor paint, so you will not need to seal it, but you can, it's optional. I would suggest using a polyacrylic or a spar urethane that is water-based so that the white does not yellow. This paint will dry pretty fast. So we're just gonna let that coat dry. Make sure you have a little cup of water. Sometimes it helps to have your brush a little wet. So we're gonna go ahead and do a second coat. And this is just an example of what you can do with this star. You can paint it however you like. I would love to see what you paint, so you can share it on our Facebook page or tag us on Instagram. Our Instagram is at Rustic Glitter TX, and on Facebook it's just Rustic Glitter, so make sure to follow us. So I think I am going to paint my sides white. That coat dry. Okay, so my white is all dry. Before we do our stencil, the best thing to do is just to give it a light sand with like a 220 grit or higher. You don't want to go lower because then it's going to start to sand the paint off. So I have this little, I love this little sander. I'll link it in the bottom. And you just very lightly, just to smooth it down. You don't want to, you're not taking any of the paint off. If you want to distress it, you can do that in the end, but this is just to smooth it down. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Okay, just wipe it down. So now we're going to stencil the stars. Your stencil paper is going to look a little different than mine. I was just using some extra stuff that I have. Yours is going to look just a little different, but same concept. Okay, so on this, there's a little triangle cut out, and this is how you're going to line up your stars. So we're going to peel off the back. So we're going to line up our triangle at the top. And this is just to ensure that the stars get lined up properly. If you don't want to do this pattern, but you want to use the stars, you can cut out these stars and place them where you want, but make sure you cut them out before you take the backing off. Now we're going to take off transfer tape. And with this, you just want to peel it back. You don't want to pull. I'm just gonna tuck this under because it's super sticky and it keeps sticking to the table. So just go back over it, make sure it's all down. So if your kids are doing this part, you probably are gonna wanna help them put the stencil on and get it right. So what I like to do is whatever your base color is, we're gonna do a really thin coat of your base color first. And the reason is it'll help prevent any of your main colors bleeding under the stencil. So I'm just gonna go over our stencil with the white. Now we're gonna let that dry. So you can take your same little stick and just mix your paints. So when you're painting, just remember, you are not going to paint this triangle up here. This is only to help you line it up. So make sure you do not paint that. You're only gonna paint the stars. So this process takes a little bit longer. You're going to very lightly dab. All you wanna do is dab. And it might take several coats to get a solid color, but you're just gonna dab like that. And you don't need a lot of paint. You want to start in the middle to get some of the paint off, and then you're just literally gonna dab. So that's 3 coats, which I'm happy with. If you want to do more than 3 coats to get even darker, then you can do that. Be creative. That's why I love these DIY kits, because it gives you the opportunity to design your own piece. Now when you take it off, make sure you peel it very slowly and away from the board. Look at those crisp lines. Love it. And you can do this however you like. If you want to paint red first and then do blue and white stars, or paint blue and do red and white stars, it's your piece. You design it how you like. Now I'm gonna let it dry really good, and then I'm gonna come back and I am going to de-stress it a little bit. I like my stuff distressed. If you do not and you're ready, like it the way it is, and that is fine too. We do want to wait. I would suggest waiting maybe at least 1 hour. Make sure it is really dry before you attach your vinyl. So now that it's dry, I'm going to come back with my sander, and I'm just going to lightly sand. This part you definitely want to make sure that it's dry so that it doesn't cross, but I want mine to have a little bit of a rustic look. So I am actually okay if the paint starts to smear a little bit. Now I just want to kind of give it a little bit of a dry brush. And sometimes what else I've done in the past is I'll take some stain and kind of go around the edges too to darken that up. Again, completely optional. Look on the back, and you have your two holes, which is where you're going to, the two holes where you're going to put the stake in. So you want that to be on the bottom, so flip it over. Then we're going to get our vinyl. Make sure you push this down. All right. Then you're going to peel it off, peel this back white paper off. So now you just place it . Just kind of eye it. Then you're going to peel it back. Again, don't pull forward, don't pull up. You're just going to roll it back. If it doesn't stick, then just push it down a little bit more. And don't go fast, okay? You want to go really slow doing this. We're going to flip it over, and your stake already has the holes drilled in. Don't want to over tighten too much just because you don't want to strip it out. Just make sure it's nice and secure. Doesn't move. And there you go. It's ready to go in the yard. That's all there is to it. So get creative and share your stars on our social media. So make sure to follow us so you can keep track of all of our DIY kits. Thank you.